Time. Let's take a look at some of the stories making headlines in Central Africa. We're joined on the line by Aaron Ngambi, geopolitical analyst and columnist, to help us unpack. Aaron, thanks for joining us. How are you this Thursday?
I'm good, thank you. Good morning to you and good morning to your listeners.
Morning. Let's begin in Cote d'Ivoire. Former international banker Tidjane Thiam there has been re-elected as opposition party leader, the Democratic Party of Ivory Coast. This ahead of October's presidential elections. This is 2 days after resigning. In the first place, why did he resign from this position of leader of PDCI?
Well, his candidacy has been, marked with controversy because he holds dual citizenship. He holds a French citizenship and the citizenship for Cote d'Ivoire at the same time, I think since 1987. And so, according to the Constitution of Ivory Coast, you are not eligible to run for president if you have dual citizenship. Now, for him, he had renounced his French citizenship, I think it was March this year, in preparation to run for the presidency, of course. But it seems like that has been an issue that hasn't gone away, and it's a cloud that has been hanging over his candidature since he declared interest. But also, I think that there are some elements of, political scheming by his opponents in trying to disadvantage him or actually buy him from running.
Political scheming that he calls judicial harassment, because he's referred to the situation that removed his presidential race as judicial harassment. Do you see it as that as well?
Yeah, you see, the issue that we have in most African countries is that we have this doctrine of separation of powers, which is practically on paper, and it's nothing tangible. You have the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary claiming that they're independent, but in most cases you have the executive appointing the judicial officers who are the judges of the high courts and the Supreme Courts. And then you also have a legislature that is predominantly majority from the ruling party. So the issue of separation of powers in most African countries is neither here nor there. It's really theoretical rather than practical. So I think this is why he's claiming that this is judicial harassment, because it feels like since the judiciary has barred him from running for the presidency, because they claim that because he has this dual citizenship, or I've had this dual citizenship for so long, therefore he's not eligible. But I'll give you another quick example in relation to what happened in Malawi. When Peter Wamtarika was running for president, right after his brother had died, Bingu Wamtarika, then Joyce Banda was president for some time. But when Peter Wamtarika, who is the immediate past president, was trying to run for the presidency of Malawi, you recall that the issue of him having dual citizenship came up, the United States citizenship as well as the Malawian citizenship. And he actually renounced his U.S. citizenship just days before the election, if not weeks before the elections, and he was able to contest. So I think that this is why the opposition leader in Cote d'Ivoire thinks that this is judicial harassment. It feels like because he has renounced his French citizenship for some time now, or for a couple of weeks or a month now, he feels like he's eligible, and yet the judiciary insists that he is not.
Elections are set for October 25th. What are his supporters saying now?
Well, there's also within the political party that has chosen him to be the flag bearer, there's also some people that want to challenge him, the people that are questioning his candidacy. But by and large, he has a large support base, and it appears to me that he's supposed to actually give a good run to the incumbent Ouattara if he decides to run again. I think that the opposition can actually win if he plays his cards right.
Okay, let's go to the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo. Floods have claimed lives there in eastern DRC. What can you tell us?
Yeah, the situation in DRC is unfortunate. This flooding happened in Kasaba village, which is in the eastern DR Congo. And the flood has claimed over 100 lives, if not 100 itself. And it is sad because after all the things that the people of the Eastern DR Congo have gone through with the fighting and the civil war that's been going on there, unfortunately they have to deal with the flood. But reports indicate that actually the flooded village and the area is still under the Kinshasa government. It is not one of the villages that has been taken over by the M23 or the rebels in the Eastern DR Congo. So hopefully the government can quickly move in and intervene. I have not seen whether the government has declared this as a state of emergency as yet, but I would anticipate that could be the situation going forward, and that the government moves in quickly because the situation is desperate and it's dire.
Can the government move as quickly as they need to? Is the area now accessible for aid to reach those affected?
Well, the government are making every effort to get to the area that is affected, this village, Kasaba village, and I'm well informed that now they're able to get to where this disaster has happened, and so I think that it's just a matter of having other cooperating partners, the international community, to come in and offer this aid that is needed.
Still on Congo, public finances are being strained as a result of ongoing fighting there against the M23. So this is according to the IMF, but is it a surprise?
No, it's not. It cannot be a surprise, because what has happened is that we heard that the government in Kinshasa has increased the salaries for soldiers and policemen in the DR Congo so as to boost morale. We have seen that the budget has had to be adjusted so that there is more funding for security in the country. And so you can anticipate that in a situation like this, there are measures that the government has to take place in order to provide funding to the Eastern DR Congo, to put troops on the front lines and be able to defend the territory of the Congo. And all of this has had an impact in terms of how the budget has been restructured, has had an impact on how much money has gone into this fighting that's been going on for so many months now, since the beginning of this year.
And do we know the time period that the IMF has been monitoring the revenue streams or the budgets in the country?
Well, the IMF program for the DR Congo has been under negotiations for some time now, but we do know that in particular in relation to the civil war in the Eastern DR Congo and how much funding has gone into that war and how much budget allocation has gone into that specific area, I believe that the IMF has been watching the situation since the beginning of this year.
What about public servants' salaries and even soldiers, especially because as it seems fighting is ongoing there as a result of finances being strained in the DRC?
Well, like I mentioned, there's an issue of trying to boost the morale of the soldiers as well as the policemen, not only in the Eastern DR Congo but across the board. And the situation is such that the government has had to increase its wage bill so that they can accommodate more money and they can give soldiers more salary, so that this war, as long as it goes on, the fighting of the civil war, as long as it goes on, the soldiers are able to be up to the task with the policemen and other security wings. So that is what's been going on in terms of civil service funding.
Right. Let's move to Zambia now, where the country has issued a warning to diplomats after the U.S. has revealed some theft of aid. From where do these concerns come from? Okay.
Well, the United States has been one of the major donors and funders of aid to Zambia, especially in the health sector. Since 2001, towards the end of 2021, when the new government came in of President Hakainde Hichilema, the American ambassadors disclosed that the U.S. has been watching since end of 2021 to 2023 They've been watching how this money that they give Zambia or allocated to Zambia for health services, health delivery services, has been mismanaged, but also the drugs that the U.S. sends to Zambia for free, the drugs for malaria, tuberculosis, and HIV and AIDS, find themselves on the market, find themselves being sold by pharmaceuticals. So this is something that the ambassador, U.S. ambassador to Zambia, revealed, that they've brought this to the attention of the Zambian government for the past year. They've had several meetings, but there's not been any kind of action to correct these deficiencies or these iniquities. Therefore, the position that the Americans have taken is that they will withdraw $50 million US funding for such programs beginning next year. And so this is a message to the Zambian government from the US that we will not have anything to do with this regime in terms of supporting, in terms of aid, until the regime puts their house in order. Who knows when that would happen? Even though the Zambian government has already reacted to that statement by a few ministers making statements, including the Minister of Health, Home Affairs Minister, as well as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Whatever they've said, by and large, they have not refuted to the fact that this has been concerns that has been raised by the Americans for some time now.
Has anyone been named as in the diplomats on the Zambian side who could be involved?
No. No one has been named in terms of diplomats. The Minister of Health threw some names around of the obvious individuals, one of them who is the director of an agency in the Ministry of Health called ZAMSA. Now, ZAMSA is the agency that is responsible for the procurement, the storage, and the delivery of drugs. And so the immediate past Director General is being investigated by the Anti-Corruption Commission for some sort of allegations. Therefore, he has been mentioned and a few other individuals. And the Zambian government is pointing to that as one of the corrective measures that they're taking in order to put their house in order, or in response to the allegations by the Americans. However, the Americans, they're trying to paint this picture that the Zambian government has done nothing since last year, since they brought these things, these revelations to them. They've done nothing. And also the Americans making it seem like they are just not able to work with this government because of lack of listening.
And that's the thing. One wonders now what it will mean for respect between the two countries in terms of diplomatic relations. But we'll leave it there for today, Aaron, and thanks again for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thanks so much. Aaron Ngambi is geopolitical analyst and columnist, giving us some of the stories to look out for in terms of making headlines in the Central Africa region. It's 6:30 Central African time. Let's say good morning to Dwalane Tulo Mwepe with news headlines.
SABC News.